Let's get ready to make the birthday card mini album. To do the box on the right hand side, I'm going to go ahead and use my envelope punch board, and I'm going to make it to hold, I think they call it A2 cards. I'm going to start with the bottom piece, and so what you would want to do is have a piece of paper cut in a 10 3/8 inch square, 10 3/8 on all four sides. And we're going to start by lining up our paper on 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 is right here. That's where my edge of my paper is. I'm going to go ahead and punch. Oops, I need my scoring tool. And we're going to go ahead and score off to the side. It's okay if you're not going to be able to go all the way to the edge, and that's totally fine. We'll be able to get that taken care of on our next one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move this notch so that it is centered at the 2-inch mark. So here's 2 and here's the center of my notch. So I'm moving that. I'm going to punch again and I'm going to score. Okay. I'm going to turn my paper 180 degrees to the opposite side, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to line up the edge of the paper to 3 3/4. I'm going to punch and score, and remember the paper goes off the board, so that's okay. We'll be able to take care of that later. So it'll just go to the edge of the board. Move your notch to the 2-inch. So I'm centering the center of my notch to the 2-inch mark. And I'm going to punch, and I'm going to score. Okay, so now as we do the other two sides, we're going to take the pointer of the envelope punch board, this little piece that sticks out. We're going to line that up with the score mark that we made on the other one. So this lines up with the very first score mark. I'm going to punch, and now I'm going to move it over to the next score line. Now it doesn't go all the way, so it's kind of hard to tell, but remember we had this notch centered at 2.5 inches. So if I move that notch over and center it to 2 inches, excuse me, the notch goes to 2 inches, then that's where that line would continue. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to punch. Oh, I forgot to score on the other one. I'll have to go back and do that. Forgot to score. Okay, sorry about that. Let's do this one right. Okay, so here is my first score line. I'm lining it up with that little notch that sticks out. I'm going to punch. I'm going to score. It does go off the board, but that's okay. Now, when I move this over, I can't see where that score line continued because remember it went off the paper. But I remember that I put the notch at 2 inches, so that's where I'm going to put this notch. I'm going to center it at 2 inches. I'm going to punch, and I'm going to score. Okay, so this is what your paper should look like. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it. Okay. Fabulous. Now I'm going to go ahead and fold on my score lines. Get rid of these little notches here. And I'm going to score to keep those, get those down nice and neat. Do it on all four sides. And crease. And the second one. Okay, so now I'm looking at my paper with a point at the top and the bottom, and I'm going to be making two cuts, two slits. Different pair of scissors. Okay, so there's these notches on the side, and I'm going to cut that score line up to the edge here. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut so that you have now that little piece. Do it on the other side. Cut on the score line up to the Okay, so now I have a notch there. Turn your paper around 180 degrees so that the notches down here are going to have opposite notches down here. And cut to that score line. And cut to the score line. So this is pretty durable paper because it's the artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. And so this is going to end up being a durable box because we're going to add some designer paper to it, so that'll give it some thickness. So it's going to be really actually a strong box. Now, before we can move on, we need to make another score line. So we're going to fold this triangle over on that first score, and then there is that second score mark that we're going to fold again, and that's going to then put a crease or a score line in that triangle. Okay, so that's going to end up being glued down to the bottom of the page. We're going to do that on all four sides. So fold up on the first score line, fold on the second score line and give it a burnish, and then you've made another score line in that triangular piece. Score on the first line closest to yourself, fold on the second score line, burnish, and the last one. First score line closest to you, then the second one, burnish. And so now you can probably see how this is going to start coming together to be our box. Okay, now it's going to be easiest if you put your designer paper on before you put your box together. I'm not going to put, well, maybe I will on the sides. So I'm going to cut out my designer paper for the sides, so I'll measure that. And I'm also going to put a piece of paper on the bottom. So once this box is put together, you're going to see those triangular pieces, and we don't want that. So I cut a piece of cardstock at 4 5/8 by 5 7/8, and that's what I'm going to place at the bottom. It'll give it stability, and it'll hide those triangles. So this was for the 10 3/8 square. Just as a reminder, we moved the paper to the 3 3/4, punched and scored, moved it over so that the notch was at the 2-inch, punched and scored, and did that on 180 degrees side. And then we just used the score lines to help us with the opposite two sides. So what I'm going to do is measure. So if I open this up, this is looking at the bottom. I'm going to measure the 4 sides. So 2 will be the same, and then the opposite 2 will be the same. So this measures 6 by 1 1/4. 6 by 1 1/4. So I'm going to make it 1 inch tall, my decorative paper, 1 inch by 5 3/4. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget, because I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to do 1 inch by 5 3/4. And you'll need 2 of those. Okay, and then on the shorter sides, if I measure that, it's still going to be the 1 inch high, but this measures 4 3/4 long. So I'm going to do that at 4 1/2. So 1 inch by 4 1/2. And I'll need 2 of those pieces of paper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll cut those in a minute. I'm going to go ahead, before I put this together, I'm going to go ahead and do the top of the box. And it's going to be the same procedure, but different measurements. So I'm going to set this to the side, get my punch board back out. Let me zoom in a little bit so that might help you see. Okay. All right, so now the next piece of paper for the top is a 10-inch square. Okay, let me write this down. We're going to want a 10-inch square, and we're going to notch, line up the paper at 3 7/8 and notch it, and then we're going to center that notch at 1 3/8. Okay, so I've already got my paper cut to 10 inches. I'm going to move the edge of the paper to 3 7/8. Right here at 3 7/8. Okay, I'm going to punch and I'm going to score. And again, it's going to run off the board, but that's okay. We'll be able to work with it. Now I'm going to move this notch over to the 1 3/8, and I'm going to center that notch at 1 3/8. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a punch and a score. Now I'm going to turn my paper 180 degrees so that those now are on the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move the edge of my paper to 3 7/8. I'm going to punch, and I'm going to score, and it's going to go off the board, but that's okay. I'm going to move that notch down to 1 3/8 and center it. All right, there. Punch and score. So now we're going to use the score lines as we do the opposite two sides. So here's the score line I'm going to start with. It's going to line up with this piece that juts out. Line that up. Punch. Score. Now as I move this down, I'm going to center that notch at the 1 3/8. And that should line up because that score mark didn't go all the way through. So I'm moving the notch to the 1 3/8 and centering it. And punch and score. And let's do that on the other side. Line it up with that first score line. Punch. Score. Move it over. You can't see where that score line continued before, so we know to center it, the notch at the 1 3/8. Punch and score. Okay, so you have that. Let me go out. Okay, so now let me get that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and make my notches. So having the long edge facing me, I'm going to take my scissors and cut on that score line up to that notch, or up to the score. So I have two, hold on. So I have two, okay, and I'm going to turn my paper 180 degrees and do the same thing on the opposite end. I'm just going to cut on that score line and on this one. Okay, so then we have our two notches down here also. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fold on the score lines. Burnish. Do that on all four sides. Like I said, this is a really durable paper to use, so it gives it some stability when it's in the book. It won't crack on you. And here we go. Okay, so once again, we're going to make another score by folding it twice. We're going to score, we're going to bend it over on that first score line, and then the second score line that we made, we're going to burnish, and that's going to make another score on that triangular piece, and that will help it stay down on for the side. Turn it, fold on that first score line, then the second, burnish it. I didn't burnish, oh yeah, that's right. Third side, fold the first one, second one, that makes another score on that triangular piece. First one, second one. Okay. So once again, this is going to be the top. Okay, so it's going to be easiest if we cover our paper with our decorative paper first before we fold it and put our lid together. So the pieces you're going to need for the decorative paper for that, you're going to want the four sides and the top for this one, not just the sides. So as I measure this, this is 5 inches by 6 inches. So we're going to want a piece that's 4 3/4 by 5 3/4, okay, for this piece. And the sides are not as deep on this one. So these measure 1 inch. So we're going to go 3/4 that measures the side is 1 inch, so we're going to go 3/4. The length is 6 1/4, so I'm going to go 1 inch. So I'm going to need 2 at 3/4 by 6. And then the short ends, I know it's going to be the 3/4 again, and those measure like 4 7/8, I think. Hold on. It's close to 4 3/4. So I'm going to do 4 1/4. I mean 4 1/2. Maybe 4 5/8. So 3/4 by 4 1/2, or you can go 4 5/8, whatever you like better. Okay. So I'm going to cut out my decorative paper. I'm going to go ahead and around my decorative paper, I'm going to use frayed burlap to get rid of the white on the edges. I'm going to use the Julie Nutting French Flea Market. And so I'll cut out my paper and I will be back. Okay, I have my paper matted on the bottom of my box, and so this is what it looks like before, and then I put the decorative paper on just the sides. Okay. Oops. So now we're going to put our box together. I'm going to use the Art Glitter Glue. I'm going to start at the short end, and these 2 tabs are going to get glue on the outside, and we're going to tuck them on the inside, and then we're going to fold this down and glue it. Okay, so I'm going to give myself some room here. Let me give you, okay, I'm going to put some glue on the tab, and I'm going to do 2 at once just because I don't want to. Okay, I'm going to fold those up and have them meet. I'm going to do one at a time, I lied. Have the 2 corners meet. I'm going to grab it. I have this one come up, meet, have the corners meet. Press it down. Okay, now I might have to go back and do some, add a little bit of glue on the edge, but I'll do that in just a second. So now I'm going to take this, so this is what we have. I'm going to take this and fold it down and add some glue. So I'm going to put glue on the inside. Get those flaps out of the way, push it down, and okay. Now I'm going to look at my sides. Actually, I don't think I need any more glue. The sides met up real well. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to do the opposite end. I'm going to do the side, the flap. I put glue on the outside of the flap. And I'm going to have it, bring it up and meet with this piece and line it up. So see, it makes a perfect corner. And now I'll do the other side. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to tuck it in. Make sure the sides meet real nice. Hold it for a second. Okay, now I'm going to put glue on the flap. So I'm going to put a little bit, not on the outside, but on the inside in here so that it lays down nice. Get the 2 sides out of the way, fold it, press down. And now the other 2 don't have, the flaps are already taken, or the tabs are already taken care of. So this we're just going to put glue on the side and tuck it in. Glue on the inside, tuck it in. And that'll be the bottom. So I'm going to put some glue on here. Put some glue. I'm going to fold it over, push down. And the last one, put glue on the inside here. Don't need a whole lot. On that triangular piece. Bend it over, fold, and the triangle goes to the bottom. Now, when you look at the box, you can see those triangles. And so to get rid of that, I went ahead and cut a piece of paper that was 4 5/8 by 5 7/8, and then I cut out some decorative paper and put it on top. So I'm just going to stick that inside. It'll give it durability and some strength. And then when you open the box, if the box is empty, you'll have it look nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this. This art glitter glue is like magic. I was always a score tape person, and I still use score tape, but I really have been sold on this glue. All right, I'm going to tuck this in here. Press down. I think I'm going to get my bone folder, give it a good push down here. And because of the paper I'm using, it's also a thicker paper, so it's a real good for adding sturdiness here. Get the corners real good. All right, so there's the bottom of our box. If you wanted to, you can put decorative paper on the walls of the box if you want to on the inside. I'm not going to, but you definitely could. So now I'm going to do the top of the box. So this is what it looks like once I added my decorative paper. So because it's the top, I put the paper, we're going to tuck everything inside. Okay, so you have to be careful if you have directional paper that you're putting everything on correctly. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to work with the tabs on the end. I'm going to put some glue, and I'm going to fold that in and make sure it lines up nice and neat. Hold it for a second. And it might be hard to see how I do that, because let me see if I can get a little bit closer for you. Okay, I'm going to put glue. I have another tab on this side. I'm going to put glue, tuck that inside, have it neat, nice and neat on the corner. Hold it, pinching it there. Glue on my finger. Okay. And now I can put a little bit of glue on this flap that I'm going to put down there. Tuck that and push down. We have one side done. Turn it around, do the same thing. Put some glue on the tab. Fold it up to meet the side. Make sure it's lined up well. Hold it for a minute. I'm pinching the corners. Okay. And the last tab. I think I need this. I'm going to fold it in. Get it behind there. Fold it. Bring up my side. Pinch it so that the sides are nice and neat and flush. I'm going to add some glue to fold down my sides then. glue dries fast, so it's nice with projects like this. Okay, the other ones don't have flaps, so we just put glue on the edges, around the edges, and just a little bit inside. I do put a little bit on that first section too, not a whole lot. Just enough to get it to stay down nice. And we're going to put another piece of paper on the inside like we did the bottom, just so that the top looks nice and you don't see these triangular pieces. All right, 3 sides done. Last one. Down side. All right. Tuck and push down. Now I'm going to check my sides. I think I got, there might be a little gap. See, if there's a little gap, I want to put a little bit of glue in there. Let's see if I can get some in there. There we go. Maybe here too. Not much. See, I see a little gap. So I just want to fill that with glue and press it down. Better. And I'll do the last one too, might as well. Sorry, I keep going out of camera. I'm zoomed in, that's why I need to probably zoom back out. So that's the top of our box. Now let's put it all together and see how well it fits. Oh, one more thing. Hold on. I went ahead and, like I said, I'm going to put a piece of paper here. So I cut out, let me measure it because I didn't write down those measurements. This is about 4 7/8 by 6. And then I cut a piece of the decorative paper just a little bit smaller. Some people do an 1/8, some people do a 1/4 of an inch smaller on each side. And that's going to go in there just to hide those triangles and to add some durability. So I'm going to add my glue and put it in there. Okay. And get my bone folder and make sure it's real good on the corners. All right, so this is the box. Bottom, top goes together real nicely. And so we'll add our ribbon behind it to keep it tied shut so that when the book is standing up, the lid doesn't fall off and the cards fall out. You don't need paper on the bottom because that'll be attached to the album. Okay, so there's the box. Let's take some time now to talk about the pockets on the right-hand side, or excuse me, the left-hand side of our book. The accordion pockets. So you are going to need 6 pieces of paper, and those 6 pieces need to be cut at 6 1/2 by 10 1/2. Okay, 6 1/2 by 10 1/2. And when your paper is on the 6 1/2 side, like this, 6 1/2 side, you're going to score it at 1/2. I do it at 6. You can either do it at half or you can do it at 6, whatever's easiest for you. Not both, just one. So when it's on the 6 1/2 inch side on your scoreboard, either do it at a 1/2 inch or do it at 6 inches, whatever's easiest. Then when you turn your paper to the 10 1/2 inch side, you're going to score at 5 inches and 10 inches. So score at 5 and 10 when you have it on the 10 1/2 inch side. Okay. So you need 6 of those. I already have mine pre-cut, and I actually already have all mine made except for this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some cutting, and I don't cut very straight, so I'm going to actually use my cutter. But you're going to cut off this bottom 1/2 inch side to the 5-inch mark. So not the one that has the corners that are overlapping with the scores. Don't cut off anything there yet. We're going to cut off the other one from the edge to the 5-inch. Okay, now I'm going to actually use my cutter and line it up so I get a straight cut. And I'll cut down to 5 inches. And if it doesn't go all the way through, I can trim it. Yeah, that's close. So I'll take my scissors, and actually I'm going to angle it. Okay, I'm going to actually angle it when I cut it. Okay, so that's the piece we cut off. We have that little angle here. And now where we have those overlapping score lines, where you have that little square in the corner, I'm going to cut at an angle on each side of that square to get rid of some bulk. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you're done. I'm also going to go ahead and trim this at an angle. Okay, so that's what it looks like when we're done. So now I'm going to burnish my score marks. So fold on your scores. And this is going to be a pocket that we attach 6 of them. Now this, I do use score tape instead of the glue, and I'm going to place, this is a 1/4 of an inch score tape on the two 1/2 inch sides that we folded up. Okay, so I have score tape on the side and on the bottom. I'm going to take the one off on the side first. And I just use my fingernails usually. I know that there's little devices that you can buy. I should probably invest in one like have a hook that helps it get the tape off. Okay, so then I pushed the bottom up and it stuck to the tape that I just took off. And now I'm going to I took the bottom piece off, and I'm going to fold this over. And it should line up nice and neat. And I'm going to make sure it sticks. Okay, now this measures this pocket is 5 inches across, and so I'm just going to put a little tick mark at the 2.5 mark, which marks my middle, because I'm going to use my circle punch to punch out a notch. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I want it to look like this. Okay, so I made a notch at the 2.5. I'm going to turn it upside down. So the part we're punching is the side that opens. And on this punch, this is a 1 3/4 inch circle punch. 1 3. Oh, you can't see very well. There's notches on the side that show the halfway. So I'm going to put the paper down halfway and line up that tick mark I made in the center as close as I can, and I have to push hard and it's going to pop up, and now I have my notch, and you need 6 of those, and we're going to attach all 6. I'm going to put some tape on here. We're going to attach all 6 so that it will accordion out. Okay, we're going to be adding tape to the back. Now, for the inside, the cards that go, I'm going to place a card on the inside, like this. Those measure 4 3/4 by 6, and you need 6 of those. All right, so I'm going to give you some time. Go ahead and do all your cutting. You have to make six of these and 6 pockets. Okay, 6 pockets. All right, I'll be back. The next step on the accordion pocket is I went ahead and I matted it with some of the Julie Nutting paper, and then this is from the paper collection, the Morse bingo type sticker or paper. This ruler sticker I matted on some of the paper, sticker. So you only have to do the front page because the rest of them you're not going to see. So just decorate your front page. Now to attach these, you turn them over onto the back, and I do like a capital letter I. So you don't want to go all the way to the top where you have that punch. You want to go down a little bit. It looks like I have about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch space here, and a capital letter I, about a 3/4 of an inch space from the bottom also. So 2 going down across and 1 going up and down. So then you'll take that off and you're going to attach it to that second piece. And then the second piece on the back has the capital letter I. So on all of them, you're going to be attaching it front to back. And I have the I figure tape on all of those, except for the last piece. And that 6th one, I added a lot more because I'm going to be attaching this to the actual book. And so you want it to be a little bit more secure. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these, and I'm going to go ahead and leave this the backing on the score tape, but I'm going to do the first couple pages. I'm going to make sure my score tape's down good. And when I do this, I stand them up, and hopefully so I stand them up, and then I butt them up against each other, and then I'll push. Okay, so then we have 2. Oops. Sorry, 2. You know what? I don't like how that's, when you pull these, but you need a little bit of give. I was trying to decide if I should put more tape on the corners. If I don't like it, I can go back and add some glue. Okay, make a decision, Kim. Okay, so now I'll take off the next one. And I'm going to attach this one. I'm going to stand them up, butt them up against each other, because then my hands can kind of feel that they're the sides are lining up. Take off the tape. This one I screwed up on the putting the score tape on. There we go. I really need to get one of those hook things. I always think my nails can do it, but then sometimes I struggle. I stand it up, put the other one behind it, push down. And almost done with this part. Stand them up. And there'll be 2 papers in each because I plan on doing 2 months. If I use this as a birthday reminder, I'll do like January and February in the first pocket, March, April, June, July, all that. Okay, so then the last one. Okay. Okay, so there is our accordion pockets. Fabulous. I am going to, I don't know if I already told you this or not because I don't remember. You're going to need 6 pieces that are at 4 3/4 by 6, and that's what's going to go in each of these pockets. Okay, and go down farther. I'm going to put decorative paper on just the front. That's sticking. Just the front, and then on the back, I'm going to either print like a 1 through 30 so I can write people's birthdays next to the number for that month, or do it by hand. I haven't decided yet, but I definitely will cover the front with decorative paper. I might put the month on the front. So I'm going to cut my decorative paper a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go 4 1/2 by 5 3/4 for the Julie Nutting paper. Okay, so that's 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. And I have, oh, I said 6. We need 12 of these. I need 12 of these, 1 per month. I lied. Let me change that. I wasn't thinking. So 12 at that. 12, not 6. Sorry about that. Wasn't thinking, because I want 1 for each month. Okay, so I'm going to go cut some more of these because I only have 6. And then I'm also going to put the decorative paper on the top. And I might put some sort of tab at the top so it's easy to pull out. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, and then we'll be putting our main album together. To get that ready, the size chipboard that I'm using for the front and back covers is going to be, I wrote it down, I can't find it now, 7 by 8 1/2. So you need 2 at 7 by 8 1/2 of chipboard. And so when you open the book, you'll kind of center that. You'll have one on one side and then the box on the other side. So because of the depth of this box, we're going to have to make sure that our spine accommodates both of those being together. So right now I'm thinking a 3-inch spine. So 3 inches by 8 1/2. I might end up doing a different top. I might end up doing something a little bit different than I normally do. So I might go with 2 of these. I'll come back when I know for sure. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'll be back. Thanks for your patience. I finally decided on my cover. So the measurements for the chipboard, now that I've figured it out, is going to be 7 1/2. Nope, I lied. 7 by 8 1/2. And you need 2 of those. So it's 7 inches across and 8 1/2 inches up and down. 2 of them. And then you need 3 pieces that are 3 inches by 8 1/2. 3 of them. So that the cover can come up and around on top. So 3 inches across, 8 1/2 up and down. And you need 3. When you're done cutting those out, go ahead and put your score tape on the back. So I've done my 3 pieces here, my 2 pieces here. This is where those full sheets of score tape really come in handy. It saves so much time, and those are at the store. I didn't have any. This is 3/4 of an inch score tape, and that works, but it takes a lot less time if you have those full sheets. So I am going to get ready to wrap my cover, and I have to combine some paper together to make it long enough. And so I'm using 3 sheets. I'll probably end up cutting one down a little bit, but they are 10 1/2 tall. So I added an inch on each side of the cover, and it was 8 1/2 tall. So I added an inch on top and an inch on the bottom to give me 10 1/2. And then this is a 12-inch sheet of paper going across. And so I did that with another sheet. I cut it down to 10 1/2 going up and down, 12 inches going across. So you'll see that I have score tape on the edge of my first paper, and I have score tape on the back of my second paper. And I'm going to end up overlapping them just a little bit so I can combine the two sheets. So let's go ahead and do that. And my air conditioner just kicked on, so you're probably going to hear a noise in the back. Sorry. And somebody's mowing outside too, so I can't win. Yep, I can hear the mower. That's my husband, actually. Okay, so we're going to overlap just a little bit. Line it up as close as you can. That is not perfect by any means, doggone it. I have just a little bit. It's like not even an eighth of an inch. It's like 1/16 of an inch. I didn't line it up exactly perfect, but it will work. And now I have to do a third sheet, so I'm going to move this down. I put a piece of score tape on the top of that second sheet, and on my third sheet I have a piece on the edge, and once again I'm going to overlap them and place one on top of the other. And I'm going to end up cutting it. Like I said, I know it's too long, but I will wait until I get the chipboard pieces on there before I decide how to cut it. And take this one off. Okay, now let's hope I can line this one up a little bit better without. That one is perfect. All right, I wish the other one would have been. All right, so we have a long sheet of paper here. Here we go. 3 12-inch pieces combined. So I am going to start laying my chipboard pieces down. I'm going to get my 1/4 inch score tape ready because that's what I'm going to use in between the chipboard to give it a little bit of space. I'm going to go about an inch over from the edge also on this side. And I do want to keep it as straight as possible. So I'm going to use my Tim Holtz ruler and line that up at 1 inch so I can rest the chipboard on there and make sure that it's going to be in the right spot. So 1 inch all the way around. So I'll go ahead and take off the score tape on this first piece. And again, if you had the full sheet, that would take less time too, because you only have to remove one big sheet. And this one has quite a few. And even though I feel like this is a lot of tape, I know that people put a lot more on than I do. Like they have no space in between. And I don't know that, you know, I think this is still going to be strong enough and durable enough. And when you go to the work of making the album, you want it to stay together. And this will. But I always feel a little bit safer if I have a... To me, the more score tape, the better, I guess. I don't know. Okay. So all that's off. Now, I have my Tim Holtz ruler down here to help me keep everything straight. So I want 1 inch on each side. So I'm going to line that up and put it down. And that helps keep everything lined up. And I want that to stick real well. So this is where I'm going to use the 1/4 inch score tape, and I'm going to place that in between the pieces of chipboard. So I'm going to have 1/4 of an inch of the score tape. Ooh, I don't like how that... I don't really like how that, where I combine the paper. It'll be all right. Okay. Let's go ahead and place a piece of 1/4. Some people don't do this. I was taught that that's the best way to leave a space and to keep everything adhering nice. Okay. So there's my 1/4 inch piece, and now I'm going to do a 3 inch piece, and I'm going to butt that up to the score tape. So let me take this off, and I'll use my ruler again to help me keep it lined up so I don't go crooked. All right. Now, I've made a lot of albums, and I really love making them, and I really love decorating them, but I will tell you that I have been very traditional in my covers in that it's 3 pieces, you know, just like a book. And so this one I'm doing that extra flap, so this is my first time of doing it, believe it or not, and it better work out. Okay, so I'm going to line up my ruler with the paper so that I have 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and leave that score tape there for right now. Oh, I just moved my ruler. Hold on. But I'm going to hold down the ruler. Okay. All right, make sure that's on nice. And I had a little piece here that I'm going to use. And put the rest of the score tape on. I feel like I need to turn it sideways. Hold on. To put the tape on. Do it better that way. Okay. And next is the 7 by 8.5 sheet. And here we go again. So tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I have a 20-year-old and a 18-year-old. She'll be 19 this summer. And my husband works tomorrow, and my daughter works tomorrow, and my son has off. But he wanted to know if it was okay if he went golfing. I was like, actually, no, it's not okay. You spend some time with your mama. We'll see. He's a good boy. My daughter's a fabulous daughter. I have very lucky. I have good kids, but they better spend some time with me on Mother's Day is all I can say. Their lives get pretty busy as they get older. Okay, so let me line up my ruler. So I have a 1-inch border. I'm going to hold that ruler down and bump it up against that piece of score tape that we put down. And now we have 2 more pieces to put down, and that would be the 2 3-inch pieces. I feel like this is going crooked, unfortunately. I don't know how that happened. I hate that. Why is it doing that? Oh well, it'll still work. Nothing I do is ever perfect. I make my mistakes just like everybody else. So I hope that you are somebody who watches the video all the way through once before you attempt, because humans make mistakes. All right. And, oh, I forgot to put my 1/4 inch down. Let me do that. So I'm going to put the 1/4 inch next to this chipboard, even though I think it's going crooked. Okay. And let's place my ruler down to keep that 1-inch border. Oh yeah. That is not too bad, but I do see a little bit more of a space at the top than the bottom. And one more time, 1/4 inch. Okay. Oh. Whoops, a little rip there. Okay. And the last 3-inch piece goes next to this one. Yeah, this is not straight. How does that happen even with a ruler? I don't get it. All right. And I'm assuming that some of you who are watching this have made a cover before, and so I don't always show every single step when I'm making these. You know what? I'm not going to use the ruler. I'm just going to butt it up against. And I do want to trim this because it's way too long. We want about 1 inch. So let me get my blade. Let's see. I have a blade. It is probably not the sharpest thing. Where'd it go? Where'd that go? I have a feeling I have a kid who was down here losing my stuff and didn't put it back. Because I always put it in the same spot. Where did it go? It's very easy to see. It's pink and black. Seriously? Huh. It has disappeared. Alright. Huh. I'm going to have to use Plan B, so give me a second to find something else to use to... Alright, here's Plan B. I'm going to go ahead and... I hope this is a self-healing mat. Alright. You know what? It's going to be closer to a little bit more than 1 inch, but see this, I don't use this much, but I was gifted this tool, and I have a feeling that the blade needs to be changed. Ah, give me my scissors. It would have been easier if I could have found my knife. Okay, not the straightest in that I've done by any means, but it will not show. So I don't know why I'm being so picky, but this looks bad. Okay, so let me put away that roller. Throw away my tape here. I hate a mess. Get rid of my extra paper. Okay, so this requires a lot of tape too. I'm going to start, I'm going to put tape around the outside edge, and I'm going to put tape on the outside edge of my chipboard also. And so I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and wrap it with you after I have all the tape, so you don't have to watch me doing that. Be back. On my cover, I went ahead and I put the score tape around the edges of my chipboard and on the edges of my paper. I removed the backing of the score tape in between the boards, in between the chipboards. I mitered my corners by snipping off an edge, leaving just a little bit of paper on the edge, not much. You don't want to cut it right to the corner because then you'll see the chipboard through the paper. I kind of have pushed the paper up to give it a memory for being folded here, and I went ahead and did that on all 4 sides just to make sure that it'll be easier to wrap around. And I am going to do the long sides first. And what I'm going to do is also put a little tiny bit of glue right up against the chipboard as I go, and that will help the paper stay nice and smooth on the edge. So I'm going to start removing the score tape backing on most sides here. So that, come on. Okay. And I'll do the one down on the very far end also. Take that off. Okay. And now I'm going to take this long piece off on the paper side. I'm going to run that glue right up against the chipboard. Okay. And now I'm going to fold over and I'm going to take my bone folder. Yeah, I am. Bone folder. Oh, there it is. I'm going to go ahead and push down on this, and I'm also going to push down on the edge here. Just right across the edge so that it sticks on that. Okay. Hope that was easy enough to see. And now I'm going to turn it and do the opposite side, so the long side again. I'm going to remove my score tape. And I am going to do the same thing with the glue. Just run a small amount up against the chipboard. Not on the chipboard. Okay. And I have already, remember, started folding over. Oh, got a little wrinkle right there, but you won't be able to see that, I don't think. Problem is my boards were not even, and so I'm getting some wrinkles. The good thing is it will be covered, so I'm not going to freak out about it. Okay. Let's see if I can work that out, though. Like I said, you're not going to see it. That doesn't mean I like it. Okay. And then just kind of on the edge, I'm going to take my bone folder so that that glue sticks to the chipboard well. And the last is to do the small, shorter ends. So I'm going to take off that score tape backing. I'm going to run a bead of glue. Now I'm going to take my finger and push in that little bit of paper I left. And over here. And fold over. And, okay. And one more side. Take this off. I'm actually try and push this in. Okay. So now I just want to make sure that the paper sticks to that score tape in between the chipboard. So I'm just going to take my score tool, my bone folder, and just kind of lightly push in between. I don't want to make anything rip. That would not be good. All right, so I'm just kind of pushing that paper in. And I'll do the other side. Push. Okay. Kind of folding up to make sure that it's going the way it's supposed to. So it'll be like this. Okay. Make sure. Okay. And make sure this one folds. All right. So this is how it will close. And now we're ready to put the paper on the inside. So if this measures 8.5, I want it to go, I'll probably do 8. I don't want it all the way there. 8 1/4, maybe 8 3/8. I'm going to cut my paper 8 3/8 inches tall. So you can get that ready. 8 3/8, and then you're just going to keep laying it across until it goes all the way to the end. So I'll get some of my decorative paper and start putting this puppy together. And I'm not going to show you how I decorate the front, but I am going to show you how to put the magnets on. I'm going to have 2 or 3 magnets to keep this flap closed. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper and put it down on the inside, and then I'll show you how to do the magnets, and then we get to decorator. I'll show you the final product after I've decorated. Oh, and I'll show you how to put the card box on with the ribbon closure and the accordion pocket on the left-hand side. I'll show you how to put that in, and so stay tuned. I have my paper on the inside of my cover, and I use the black and white, and that's also the paper that I used on the bottom of the card box. Okay, so what I have done is I placed a piece of score tape on the back to hold the ribbon on, and I'm going to place that on the third panel, or the second large chipboard piece, and I'm going to center it, and I'm going to keep it in place by putting a bunch of score tape on the back. I'll take the lid off so I can push it down real good. So I've already adhered the seam binding to the back, so I'm going to untie this. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to go ahead and place some score tape on the back, and I'm going to be generous with it. And I'm actually, I think, going to use my scissors to cut this just so I don't accidentally tear some of the paper. Oop, not that. Okay. I go all the way around, and I'll put some in the center also. So I'll fill you in on a little secret here. I was putting the paper on the inside of my book, and because I must not have lined up my chipboard exactly perfect, and so when I was wrapping the chipboard, it didn't make a difference because it wasn't lined up perfect. So I was putting my paper down, and I had a big gap that was not even, so it was wider. I had a wider amount up here than a narrow piece down here. So to cover that up, I just put adhered some trim, and now my mistake is covered. So there's always a way, and I'm constantly finding them because I make enough mistakes for everybody, I think. Oh well, if I hide them, who cares? All right, I'm gonna, like I said, put quite a bit on. And I'm cutting it just because sometimes I have a tendency when I rip the score tape, sometimes just a little bit of paper comes up with it, and I don't want that to happen. 2 more, I think. Again, this would be a great place for the full sheet of score tape that is sold at the store, Country Craft Creations, online. Fast shipping, let me tell you. So I want to make sure that this is down, so I'm just going to flip my box over, and I'm going to take my bone folder and just make sure that I'm making that score tape stay on real good. Okay. And I did not want my ribbon exactly in the middle because of the top of my box. I didn't want to cover up all this prettiness, so my bow is going to fall a little bit lower, and so you would probably want to center yours depending on what your paper looks like. All right, so I want to center this box so that I have the same amount of space at the top as on the bottom and on from side to side. And so I'm going to, actually I probably should get my ruler, see if I'm close. About 1 1/4, 1. And there should be a 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take off my score tape. And because of I'm putting cards in this box, it's not going to be very heavy. So I shouldn't have any problems, or you shouldn't have any problems with it pulling off the chipboard cover. It should stay on just fine. All right, so let me get my ruler again. And I want about 1 1/4 inches and 1 inch. Okay. All right, and now I had to stand up, see. I'm going to go ahead and push it down. With my bone folder on the inside again. You want to make sure it sticks to that cover real well. Now, I don't think I've shown you, but it's going to hold just like regular size cards and envelopes. Not regular size, but when you take a 8.5 by 11 sheet and make a card. I think that's A4. I think that's what they call it. And then those will fit right in there, and you can store birthday cards. and envelopes that you make. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on that just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and tie it closed so that when I do have cards in there, we won't have anything falling out. Where's the end there? I promise I know how to tie. Ooh, that's a terrible bow. Okay, seriously. All right, for right now, that's what it's going to stay like. I'll tie a better bow later. Okay, so now on the first panel is where we're going to put our accordion pocket so that we can stick the months of the year tabs in there and check to see who has birthdays when. And I already have my score tape on the back, and I will probably, after I put this down, I'll probably put like something, a pocket or something on this spine and tuck something in there, or put something decorative over here. We'll see what happens. Now I want to have it kind of lined up, obviously, with the bottom of the box. I want this to line up nice and neat. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my score tape. And again, it's just holding real light paper, so we should have no problems with it coming off of the cover. Oh, please. Almost there. 2 more pieces. Now you can measure, you can eyeball. I really am kind of an eyeball person. And I'm just going to try and follow over and center this also on this first section. And I want to make sure that the bottom is very close to lining up with the bottom of the box. You know what? I am going to put my ruler down just to see. All right, there's no lifting it now. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to place my bone folder in there and press it down just to make sure in that back pocket. Get that in there as far as I can. All right. So, like I said, I probably will add things to the spines here, but when we close it, I made sure the spine was plenty big so that you can see inside. It's not going to be touching or getting in the way. I have the papers that I covered. I still have to put like tabs on the top, but 2 will go in each pocket. Let me stand it up for a second. Okay, and then there'll be a little tab to make it easier to grab, and so it will help me keep track of birthdays for everybody throughout the year. The last thing I want to show you is the magnets and how I'm going to place those to help keep the book closed. There's different closures you can use. I'm just doing the magnets this time. Okay. And I want to make sure it's lined up. Now, because I have that piece of ribbon on the end, I'm going to place my magnets on the inside. Oh, I'm so stupid. I don't want magnets. I should have done the magnets before. Okay, I'm going to come up with a different closure. I hate it when I do that. Okay, I have a hook and eye thing where you put a hook here and then the other piece here and then it'll clasp. That's what I'm going to have to do because I screwed up. Oh well. If you want to do magnets, you need to put the magnets down before you put your paper on. Learn from my mistake. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to finish covering the book with the paper and decorating and the closure, and I will come back and just make sure that you understand how everything went together and what it looks like all finished. All right, let's finish this up. I have finished my birthday card box and an album project after I realized that I had not put my magnets on when I was supposed to. I looked for that hook and eye and I couldn't find it, and so I just had to come up with something to keep the book closed. And so I ended up putting 2 brads through a sticker, and then I mounted the sticker on paper. I put some seam binding. I poked it in one of the brads and so I can wrap it, and then I just tied some little pearls on the bottom. So, you know, I would have preferred magnets, but it still works. So as we take a look at the front cover, I did cut out some things and use some of the pieces from the collection, French Flea Market. I put some wedding trim or wedding appliques on the edge. I always like to use, I just think that adds so much. It makes it look really feminine. Did that on both sides. Okay. I had a flower in my stash. And so when you open it, you just unwind it. And then it opens, and it's quite large. I don't think I can get all of it in the camera, but here's a scoop of it. So what I ended up doing then is I have 6 pockets, and in the pockets I have 2 cards. I put tabs on them. On the back I will probably print a 1 through 30 or 1 through 31 list and write birthdays down for those months rather than handwrite them. Okay, so there's the accordion pocket with all the cards in it. I cut out a piece of the cut-aparts and I glued it on 2 sides, and I put a tag in there so when I make a gift I can put that tag on there and have that ready. This box holds your standard card that people make. I have 1 card in here, but it doesn't match the paper or anything. I just wanted to show you how it fits, and this is pretty deep, so it'll hold quite a few cards. Okay, you can, you know, store anything in there, but I'm using it for birthday stuff. And then that lid goes on, and just tie it back on with the seam binding. And then I added the same pocket over here on the side. This is just from the paper collection, a cut apart, glued it on 2 sides. Put another tag in there so I can have one ready for the packaging when I make a gift. So that is my birthday card box and an album. I hope you found the tutorial easy enough to follow. I apologize if you wanted to put magnets on and you were watching and got angry that I didn't fix my mistakes. I always suggest that you watch my videos first before you start making things, because I'm human and I make mistakes. But I'm happy with how it turned out, and I hope that you find this project to be useful. Thanks so much. See you around.